What's up, family? So, look, today we diving into something that affects us all. And even if you don't realize it, tariffs. Now, this might sound boring, but trust me, look, I'm gonna add a little bit of context. I'm gonna try to make it fun, and I'm gonna give you from a easy to understand perspective and be a little bit entertaining as best as I can be, but give you this game at the same time. So if you get some value from this video, give this video a big thumbs up. So it's about how countries trade with each other, right? And it can change how much things cost, where jobs go, and even how we get along with other nations. And I'm thinking about this a lot lately, and it reminds me of something so simple. Imagine you trying to make a deal with someone, right? And let's say you're selling something and you want a good price, right? And they want to pay as little as possible. And countries do the same thing, but on a much bigger scale. And sometimes they use something called a tariff to get what they want. So, what exactly is a tariff to add the context? Well, it's basically a tax, but it's a tax on goods that's coming into the country from somewhere else. Let's say the US puts a tariff on cars that come from Germany. That means the German cars will cost much more. Now, why would a country do that, you may ask? There's a lot of reasons, and that is where it gets interesting because sometimes a country wants to protect its own businesses. So if those German cars are cheaper than American cars, people might buy them instead. And the tariff makes the German cars more expensive so American cars can compete. But here's the thing though, other countries don't always like it when one country puts up tariffs and they might say, hey, that's not fair. We're going to put tariffs on your stuff too, right? And then you have what's called a trade war, they like to call it. And I think they use trade war in the sense of fear mongering. But we're going to get to the video because Europe basically backed down and went from having tariffs on the United States, and now they're going to do zero tariffs on the United States because they realize that they're at a disadvantage and they need the US more than the US need them. But like I said, it's like a big argument when it comes to this trade war. It's basically like a big argument in simplistic terms, in simple terms between countries. But instead of fighting, they make it harder to buy and sell things from each other. So let's check out what Europe had to say, family.
Prime Minister, dear Jonas, a very warm welcome to Brussels. Norway is a member of our European family, and we are united by shared values, and we are integrated through our single market. When faced with shared challenges, we are keen to explore common solutions. That's exactly what we have done today. And our discussion showed how much we have in common. We discussed from the support to Ukraine and defense to the way how we are going forward with US tariffs. Our cooperation makes us stronger. That is the quintessence of what we've discussed today. On defense, Norway will be able to participate in the joint procurement of SAFE, that's our 150 billion euro loan program. And industry in Norway will...
And I want you guys to actually pay attention because this has been in the news a lot lately, and it's tariffs between the US and other places like Europe. And to understand this, it's important to take a look at what they're saying. So let's continue to get the context, and then I'll break it down to you from a simple, easy to understand, and then we'll have perspective, and then we can have a conversation and let me know you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. All right?
Will be treated like EU industries. On Ukraine, I was very pleased to hear what your plans are, because Norway has from day one on being a key supporter. If we take now our financial support combined with your own assistance, this will make a difference for Ukraine right now. We, of course, also discussed the progress on the Green Alliance, which we signed in April 2 years ago. We're turning words now into reality through concrete products, from offshore wind to hydrogen to CCS and CCUS. And in particular, we agreed to speed up the coordination between Norway, member states and our companies to get even more projects up and running. Because in the global clean tech race, we also know together we are stronger. We also discussed the effects of the US tariffs. These tariffs come first and foremost at immense costs for US consumers and businesses, but at the same time they have a massive impact on the global economy, Especially hard hit are the developing countries. And this is a major turning point for the United States. Nonetheless, we stand ready to negotiate with the United States. Indeed, we have offered zero tariffs for industrial goods, as we have successfully done with many other trading partners, because Europe is always ready for a good deal, so we keep it on the table. But we are also prepared to respond through countermeasures and defend our interests. And in addition, we will also protect ourselves against indirect effects through trade diversion.
Did you guys catch that, right? She said basically talking double sides out her mouth, where she basically said in one sentence, we're able to make a good deal. And then she turned around and say, oh, we're also ready to defend ourselves. So what I'm trying to get at is basically they're saying that these tariffs are going to hurt American consumers. They're trying to appeal to us Americans, the people, because they know we have a lot of power. And if we stop buying their stuff, that's a big deal. And they're not wrong, because when prices go up, we're the ones who pay. And think about it. If the price of a car goes up, right? Or the price of clothes goes up, or the price of anything goes up because of tariffs, that's less money in our pockets, the Americans. So now the thing is, the US says these tariffs are necessary, right? They want to protect American businesses. And in this case, and what I mean by the US, I'm talking in terms of Trump actually, obviously we know he's not a part of the establishment. He's playing the long game, operating for the best interest of Americans, we the people, and we voted for this, but it also shows that we needed this all along, so we continue to invest back into America, because these other countries put their self first. China is worrying about China, Europe is worrying about Europe, but America has been selling ourselves short and selling ourselves out and letting these other countries take advantage of our market. And we are the major and the majority of the consumers that makes up their wealth in their country, to enrich in their country and to have money in their pockets, while they continue to basically suck the nipple of America and suck the money out of Americans' pockets. So basically, we buy the products, it turns into being costly for us, draining our pockets, but they continue to get on the nipple of the US to continue to be babied and coddled and propped up for their country to even operate as effectively as they are. Like, they don't need to rely on us, like they're so self-reliant. The reality is they need the US more than we the people, Americans, need them. Europe, China, you name it. So look, they want to make sure, we want to make sure as Americans that we're not relying too much on other countries for things we need, right? And it's a complex issue when it comes to the manufacturing and stuff like that. So in America, we need to make our own products, so we don't have to keep depending on the supplements from other countries like China and Europe, because that's the whole point of why they feel so entitled. But if we start to make things in America, trust me, they'll be begging and begging on their knees, crawling and ask for us to buy into their products as American consumers. So look, it may seem like a complex issue, but it's very simple. America is basically closed for shop. You're not going to be benefiting off of us and misusing us. If anything, we're going to invest back into ourselves. And if you want to be part of what we got going on, invest in our country, as you already been benefiting off of us. It's only right that we get a return on our investment. You know what I'm saying? Because it's mutual relationships. With all individuals and all leaders, world leaders of their countries, are operating as they should off the best interest of their people and their countries. But here's what I want to know from you guys watching. What do you think about all this? Do you think the tariffs are a good thing or a bad thing? Do they help American workers, or do they just make things more expensive for us? Right? Let's talk about it in the comments. And I want to give you another example to think about. Imagine you're trying to buy something and there are two options. One is made in the US and it's a little more expensive. The other is made overseas and it's cheaper. Do you automatically go for a cheaper option, or do you consider buying American made product, and why? See, these are the kind of questions we need to be asking ourselves when we talk about tariffs. And it's not just about politics or economics. It's about our choices, our values, and what we want from our country as Americans, right? And however, do I believe that tariffs help American workers? They do, because it makes these other countries invest in us. So I'll give you an example. You can't sell over to China. China wants you, if we were to sell our products, American products over there to China, they basically tariff us to death to our eyeballs. And I'll take a deep dive. What's the tariff percentage from China to the US? So China will basically they stand at, it says based on my research, that China stands, let me see, China 34%. So anything you sell over there in China, they will basically give you an import tax to bring it over there. So importing, because that's what a tariff is. It's an import tax to bring your products over to China. And then China makes you invest, or you can sell your products over here, but then you also have to invest 50% into what we got going over here in our company and one of our businesses of your choice. So it puts back into China economy and creates more workers for the Chinese um for the the Chinese economy, and also Chinese individuals who are seeking jobs, and it helps them expand by also feeding back into the Chinese economy, but also helping the average Chinese Joe that's working every day trying to get it. You know what I'm saying? And live and take care of their responsibilities, living in their country. So it's only right that now we put tariffs on, because we have been letting them come over here for free, and that's why they're able to sell fake, fake or cheaper products from Temu, and you get a LED ring light for cheaper instead of buying it in America, and all these things that are basically made to break, they are purposely made to not last long so you can continue to buy their products, which is why China has become so wealthy off the American market, because we have been seeking things that are cheaper to get a bang for our buck, thinking that we're keeping money in our pocket when it's costing us long term, because we keep buying these cheap things, buying from Sheen and Temu and all these markets, TikTok shop. And it's only right that we start taxing them to import their goods to sell over here, because we are the biggest leader. America, in the United States of America, is the biggest leader, and the way American goes, all the other country goes. And so however we're impacted, they're impacted. So my point that I'm saying is, family, that it's only right for them to pay a tax to bring their products over here, because they have been spoiled for so long, bringing it over here for free, making the money and running back to their country. We're not doing that no more. We're going to tax you to bring over your goods, and you're going to invest in one of our companies or do business here to avoid the tax of importing your goods. So then you can make your money, but then you're also creating American jobs for the American people, the everyday American Joe, which then in turn, you're still investing in our economy, because you are you are helping our economy by creating more jobs, which then that money, when it comes to taxes from a business perspective, you may be tax free from importing your goods for creating a business for Americans to have a job, but then you still have taxes for that business, that LLC. You have insurance. So, however, wherever state that plant, or wherever that warehouse, or wherever that Chinese business decides to plant themselves in America, however, that state or wherever will also benefit, let alone with the taxes from having a business, which still will be translating back into the American economy, which then will create more money flowing. Instead of taxing American people to their eyeballs, they can have more money in their pocket, because the businesses is paying their taxes, more money is coming in, more businesses being done in America, which translates to more jobs, which then everybody can find a job. The job market is not as strenuous, because we have more business than ever. We're booming. We can invest in infrastructure, public safety, and not be taxing American people where they're basically robbing Peter to pay Paul. And it's the same thing with America. We are robbing Peter to pay Paul by, as a country, racking up that debt from a credit card and not only paying the interest and not paying the debt off, and continue to spoil these companies while letting them over here profit and we not taxing them or nothing. They come over here for free to sell their products and get that money and run over back to their country while their country booming and we suffering by helping everybody else. We close for shop, baby. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll keep digging into this because it's important. And I want you to understand how this is going to affect us in a booming way, positively. And I want you to be informed too. So let me know what you think and let's keep the conversation going. So with no further ado, family, if you did get some value from this video, make sure you like this video. On that note, you already know, baby.